fuck were you talking about this fucking movie?
What do you mean?
It's maybe the most batshit crazy thing that we've ever watched, no?
We are heading into Valentine's. This is a story about love.
Story about
This
love.
is a story about
Yeah.
love. And that is what is the most important thing here.
Love conquers all.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. Even
Oh, do
important
it.
biological
God.
predispositions.
This is a weird fucking movie, man. I don't know.
This is a Lloyd Kaufman movie. Of course it's going to be fucking weird.
Even for a Troma movie, though, this is
I
think it's a little far afield. No?
What do you mean? This is a very traditional story, one that we've known well growing up reading and hearing the multiple versions of Romeo and Juliet.
It is a very traditional story. I've never seen a version like this before, though.
This is a Troma interpretation of a traditional story, and I'm excited to talk about
And as
it.
someone who played Othello in high school, you're saying pretty accurate.
I'm saying that I was surprised at how much of the actual play was integrated into this film.
Yeah, I was surprised that you played Othello in high school.
The town we're in was not tremendously diverse. There were not
That
a
is
lot of...
putting it so mildly.
Yeah, if there were people who could have played that role, I would have happily given it up for them.
They were nowhere to be found.
No. There are lots of things you can regret in life, and that's something that we can say, hopefully, from the characters in this film as we move through this wonderful story of love and loss and
goddamn.
overcoming family grudges.
Yeah, with an emphasis on coming. Welcome to Bad Movies and Beer.
And I'm Nolan.
And today for our Valentine's Day episode, we're already so deeply into problematic territory here.
Oh my goodness.
We are discussing Tromeo and Juliet.
A classic.
Yes, Troma Films' classic take on a classic story, a piece of literature known well to most.
Yeah,
But not like this.
Romeo and Juliet, obviously a story that has been redone over and over many times. We've seen different Hollywood releases. We grew up with that prominent...
The Baz Luhrmann, DiCaprio and Claire Danes.
Yeah. Very, very, like, kind of artsy interpretation of it with, like, modern violence.
I would
But
say this is just as artsy.
I think this pushes over artsy in this one. Also
It
involves some
transgresses
music as well.
from art to some higher
Interpretation.
level
Yeah,
of,
I don't know. But this is what we expect for Troma. We've done The Toxic Avenger. We also did Sergeant Kabuki Man with our friend
Chopper
Mike.
Chicks in Zombie Town.
Yeah, so this is our fourth venture into a Tromeo film.
I think so. A
Tromeo.
film.
Yeah, that's where we are. A Troma film. Of course, they took the Romeo character and called him Tromeo. We had to
That's
make
genius,
that
by the way.
Yeah, I like
so
that.
much of this is genius that I had a really hard time with my ratings for this. We'll get to this at the end, but I'm still trying to figure this one out. What an experience, though.
Something that you should watch.
Oh my God, yes. I felt that way before we saw it, and now having seen it, I am even more confident. Everyone should watch this movie. They should show this movie in high school English classes. Okay, maybe not high school. They should show this movie in college English classes.
Thank you. Yeah,
The look on your face of like horror and disgust.
I don't know that high school students are quite ready for this. They may not quite have the maturity. If you're in like grade 12,
I was ready for this.
Yeah, there's a lot to take here, but we know that they laugh at themselves, the Troma films, right? They make things absurd on purpose, which makes them kind of interesting. There's a lot to laugh at and question in this bad boy.
I agree, and we are going to get into all of it, and it will be unlike anything you've ever heard before. So look forward to that. But before we get into all the details, as always, we have paired this movie up with a beer. Actually, 2 beers today. What are we drinking?
I feel like we're trying to make up for a bit of a missed Christmas episode here, right? We're still in a bit of a deficit for not bringing you the drunkenness that was
That's
deserved
my
there.
fault.
I'm not trying to bring
sorry.
that part of it up. I'm just saying we're drinking 2 here. Part of that, though, is also because producer John made a special trip for us so we could do this episode.
Well, that's the thing. One of these 2 beers is so clearly a strong connection to this movie. I guess they both are because of the brewery, but like one of them is a more clear connection. Producer John was really hoping we would cover the other one. And since he was the one who went to this brewery and got the beers, I would feel guilty if we did not do both.
Well, and I'm excited to try.
Oh my God,
2
same,
different
but
beers
yeah.
here. Yeah, this is good. So, I mean, it can't get a better lock than this. This is from the Shakespeare Brewing Company.
It's a slam dunk.
Absolutely crushing the connection here between our Romeo and Juliet story from Troma. Shakespeare, Ontario, there is a section of not too far from where we live that dedicates quite a bit of its time to recreating plays.
Well, the Stratford Festival happens in Stratford, Ontario, and Shakespeare, Ontario is like directly adjacent to that.
Exactly. And so this is named after the town, named after Shakespeare as well. So they have a brewing company there, and we have 2 beers. The first one is called the Classy Cow.
And that will directly connect to something we see later in the movie.
Yeah, part of what happens here is a costume party.
Masquerade ball.
Masquerade ball leads our leading man, Tromeo, to meet our leading lady, Juliet. And one of them, Tromeo, is dressed up as a cow. So we've got this connected. It's actually hilarious because the picture and description connects perfectly with Juliet. She's the epitome of class. This is a milk stout. So using lactose milk sugars with a stout to make a really, really smooth, I'm guessing, stout. I think we'll probably get some fairly full milk sugar qualities to it. Maybe a very sweet finish, but probably something that's pretty crushable. I like that these are small cans too. Comes in at a 5.5%, very respectable stout. The other one we're drinking, a little bit of a different style, yet similar. I don't know if we've had one on the podcast before. We got a white stout.
So I am a big white stout fan, but you are not, correct? You're not a huge white stout guy?
I have mixed feelings about white stouts. For me, something about like the burnt malts lend themselves to what I think is a traditional stout flavor. I'm a bit of a Guinness purist
from your days as an Irishman.
Yeah, as a post-Irishman. I used to have very strong feelings about a stout being with sort of the darker burnt malts. I've had some white stouts I've really enjoyed, and I've had others that felt strange to me. I am excited for this though, because the flavors they're describing are coffee and chocolate, which always go well in a stout.
But I would expect that more in a traditional stout than in a white stout. That's so interesting to me.
Yeah, so most of the white stouts I've had have been kind of like Christmassy, like pepperminty, or of those other flavors. And I think maybe my aversion is because some of those flavors are overwhelming or take over. I'm excited to try it. Are we going to drink them both simultaneously? Are we going to drink one after the other? What's the strategy as we crack into these Shakespeare
I think
beers?
we'll go one at a time. Which one are you going to start with?
I think I'm going to do the Classy Cow first.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with the white stout first.
Okay, and then we will debate and talk about it.
Of course.
At the end
and that's what we'll do. So why don't we get into these?
Yeah. Ooh.
So after the traditional Troma team release graphics, we faded on a dead squirrel. Seriously, it's hanging from a noose with an attached note saying Monty Q sucks. Clearly a play on the famous Montague family of Romeo and Juliet, which sends us into an opening credit sequence introducing us to the thoroughly bizarre characters we're going to encounter in this movie. Various members and associates of the Q and Capulet families, narrated by Lemmy from Motorhead, or as he's known here, Lemmy from the House of Motorhead. And I've said this before, but we are less than 3 minutes into this thing, and I am all in on this movie. Let's fucking go.
Yeah. Starting really, really hot. The characters they're presenting, similar to the ones from the traditional story, right? Members of the family represented in similar ways, but holy fuck are they out there. Ooh, it's hard to describe. Some of them clearly tweakers and tough guys. Of course, this is
non-binary, gender fluid ravers. I don't even know.
Yeah, and of course, this is taking place as a modern adaptation. What city would host all of these people?
Gotta be New York.
It's gotta be New York. So we're there. Characters are getting introduced. The Lemmy from Motorhead intro is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and he pops up throughout this thing whenever there's an introduction to it. It's broken into acts as well.
Just like the play. So I'm having a lot of fun here, and we're about to go into Act 1.
Yeah, man, and once the credits end, we enter a seedy club where a punk show is taking place, and the painfully thin Sammy Capulet is vibing out. At least he was vibing out until he saw his sister Georgie getting macked on hard by some random dude. He knocks this guy out before propositioning his sister with crystal meth and the possibility of some inbred children. Foreshadowing? Which devolves into a rant about the hated Q family. And what are the Qs up to right now? They're witnessing a lady who may or may not be their sister getting her nipples pierced. And they show it. How did you feel about this? You love titties.
This is not a sexually attractive titty moment, though. This is a...
No, but you're always asking for more nudity because you got here. They put the needle through the fucking thing.
Yeah, it was interesting that they showed the full piercing. We are getting how gritty this is going to be from the start. There's zero filter on this thing. I don't know what it's rated.
Gotta be like R, if not
higher, right?
NC-17.
Yeah, they may not even bother with a rating on some of these, and that seems to be pretty similar feeling with the other Troma films that I've seen.
And it's got a very like grunge early 90s vibe, right?
Yeah, the music's getting introduced right here, and I am not upset about that
I was gonna say,
at all.
you fucking love that shit.
Yeah. You were talking about asking if I had a boner. It was from the music and not from this lady getting her nipple pierced, that's for sure.
Fair. Well, as we learn from the cues in this scene, the feelings of acrimony the Capulets have are very mutual. In fact, the cues spend a good portion of the scene ranting about that family before heading to the same club where one of them, Murray Martini, I think his name is, gets into a fight with Sammy after he gives him the finger. I know this is supposed to be based on the famous play, but the dialogue here is not exactly Shakespearean.
Fuck you! No, 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 seriously, Sandy, fuck you!
Their fight eventually causes them to smash into a back room where a guy from the club is trying to nail some lady. It is basically an excuse to give us some nudity and some fun practical effects when Sammy gets his fingers chopped off in a paper cutter. They're on the table and still moving. That's pretty fucking sweet, I thought.
Yeah, a lot's going on here. We've got like an edgelord with a full neck beard making out with a lady. We've got like some really interesting dress going on, and then we hit that like cool first practical effects scene. Like this all feels Troma to me, right? Like they're doing enough to make it cool and interesting, pushing limits, and then adding those interesting effects with the finger chop off.
On a limited budget.
Yes.
That's you mentioned the sparse nature of some of the like set design and stuff, and that's for sure it. Yeah. Tromeo decides to check in on his girlfriend Rosie in our next scene. She's getting nailed by some dude with a man bun, so bad news for him. Good news for you though, Noel, as this lady's rack is on full display. Yeah. There's also bad news.
This isn't going to be running through our whole conversation.
You are on record. If you listen to our early seasons, like season 2, 3, you are fully on record.
Some of my close friends from high school, their favorite running jokes in this is that you bring that up all the time.
Not a joke, man. It's very clear. Yes. Goodness. Anyway, there's also bad news at the house of the Capulet family patriarch, as he is taunted by a couple of the Qs and questioned by his wife for choices they made in the past. He shuts both of these conversations down quickly, though. First by launching an exploding crossbow bolt at the Qs, and then by taking his wife down with a judo throw. And I'll be honest, I'm having a hard time following the dialogue here, but that is in no way, shape, or form lowering my enjoyment of this movie.
Everything's moving really, really quickly. I'm having difficult time keeping notes along with the pace of this motherfucker. They are absolutely building up the sort of rivalry we know between the Capulets and the Montagues, or just the Qs in this, as we know they're interpreting. We're getting old Capulet as the absolute motherfucker of this movie, right?
Yeah.
He is the bad.
Capulet.
He is the king bad, though. Like, he's beating up his wife. We know that that's going to come into play. And we're going to wonder, like, we know Juliet is his daughter. We know that there's going to be a lot of interactions there, and I think we're going to get sort of our first introduction to her soon.
Oh, we sure are, man. Speaking of enjoyment, in our next couple of scenes, Juliet gets a visit from her best friend and possibly maid, who is a pierced, tattooed lady with supreme 90s vibes, who ends up making out with Juliet and presumably s***ing her after some nipple play that features hilarious sound effects. And speaking of hilarious, Romeo is busy jerking it across town with some interactive CD-ROMs with hilariously appropriate Shakespeare titles. Let's see. We had The Merchant of Penis, Ass You Lick It, and what were some of the other ones?
I don't know. I don't think I got them all.
God damn, it's great shit,
There
man.
was The Merchant. You said The Merchant of Penis?
Yep.
Yeah, and then
Ass You Lick It was one.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh my God. So these are pretty funny. Juliet has been betrothed to a wealthy meat merchant. This is like old dad Capulet is trying to build the family's fortune, and they've taken the most extreme possible character, this very meat-loving guy who's running a meat fortune, to be engaged to Juliet. We know this isn't going to go well because she's a vegetarian and seems to have a flavor for vagina.
Yeah, well, based on this exchange with her friend and maid, yeah, they really go at it there. And we will check in on her fiance a little bit later. But first, we get some backstory into this family feud. As we find out in our next scene, the Qs and Capulets were actually in business together once upon a time, and that business was apparently softcore pornography. But Cap, that's what they call the head of the Capulet family, tricked Montague into signing over his side of the business. We gather blackmail was involved, before also stealing his wife. This sequence is hilariously bizarre, and I guess help me understand what's going on here a little, maybe?
The politically correct term is white male now.
Oh, good God. Wait, that can't possibly be correct. No, hang on. That's funny, though.
So I'm just fucking with you. But yes, we know that there used to be a close relationship here, but old Capulet has really fucked over Monty Q. The shots we get here are absolutely hilarious. Overacting from the black Monty Q as...
God, dude. That guy's cranked up to 13.
And he's also farting in almost every scene we see for no reason. There is a lot of sound effects put through here.
Yeah, and it is usually farting, like you said.
We're going to change, though, from that, like... backstory section into a dream sequence.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like the backstory kind of helped me understand what's going on, but you know what I did not understand was this dream sequence from Juliet, where she is waiting in a kiddie pool for a Timu Fabio, who ends up having a giant demon that startles her awake. The practical effects here are amazing and terrifying, but not as terrifying as what we see when she wakes up. Juliet's shirtless father perched on her bed, hugging a pillow, ready to lecture her about waking him up.
Pubescent copulators, leaving your sex toys all over your room. You have one more screaming orgasm, young lady, and it's the time out room again.
Rich people, Noel, they're just like us.
This character goes from being like a greedy old man to a really fucked up, like...
He's got rapey vibes.
It's rapey.
For his own daughter. It's not good.
It's rapey, but it's also like religious. Like he's upset that she's coming with the other girl. He even accuses her of using her curling iron to like make herself come. And I'm like, what the absolute fuck?
Curling iron is phallic.
It's phallic, but it's also hot and terrible.
If you don't turn it on, though, it's just a...
But like, is he the one who is giving her the dong like phobia, or is that like just in her personality? Like all we've seen that they've developed so far is that her and the maid kind of it out, but that dream clearly tells us that she's afraid of
But did you see that thing though?
Oh, it was a monster. It was like a creature at the end of Sergeant Kabuki, man. It's like one of the things that got off that creature.
With the weird tentacles.
Yeah, it was part of the tentacle monster. And I mean, I know that those have been turned into like sex toys, I think now.
Oh, come on.
You can buy
Is that true?
Yeah, you can buy tentacle dildos now, I think, that are like all the rage. I don't know, but I think that's something that's possible.
Sure, you don't know. That has no idea. Yeah. No, of course. Well, this few's out of control, so the cops haul the two patriarchs into the station house and tell them to cool it. But that is clearly not going to happen, at least not based on what we see as soon as they're back on the street. Capulet brings his now three-fingered son over to Monty Q's car to let him know this aggression will not stand, man. But he leaves his son dangling from the car's window as the Qs drive away, eventually punching him out where he brains himself on a nearby fire hydrant. This happens after a random passerby gets hit by the car right in front of his cross-eyed daughter in what is just a classic Troma touch. This scene would not have been even a little bit out of place in The Toxic Avenger or Sergeant Kabuki Man, right? It just fits right in.
Oh, this was as Troma-esque an action scene as you could ever imagine, right? The fact that we had the weird people in the background, we had the guy hit his head and it completely split open to a graphic amount on the fire hydrant. Very much reminded me of the poor kid getting run over in The Toxic Avenger. One thing we skipped over a little bit here is they are hinting at or confirming that both Tromeo, and Juliet have the same mom. This is our first indication that there might be some kind of problems with the impending relationship that we know if we've followed the Romeo and Juliet story ever before, which most people have, they're going to fall in love.
Yeah, but also it's nothing but obstacles.
Oh, yes, but one of those obstacles is
all
about
day.
to be they share the same genetics.
Well, that will come up later, perhaps. Let's not spoil things. But it is time for the big costume party in our next scene, speaking of things we talked about earlier. This is no masquerade ball. It's being held at a meat market. Meet me at Meat World, Noel. And as we already know, Tromeo and Juliet will both be in attendance. Tromeo is hoping to see his girl Rosie there. And as we see in our next scene, a member of the meat crew named London, who you mentioned, is very excited that Juliet will be attending, as he is, in fact, her fiance. At least he was excited until he found out she's a vegetarian. He's so upset about it that he slices his own hand, and honestly, I get it. I wouldn't want to date a fucking vegetarian.
Yeah, you can't live with those kind of dietary restrictions, huh?
How is a lady going to eat my meat if she doesn't eat
I don't know. I might be a vegetarian after I saw the raisin loaf that motherfucker introduced to her.
Oh, yeah, that was tough. Raisins and meat have no business
Raisins
existing
have
the
no
same.
purpose inside any food in general.
I agree.
I have an active and heated argument with my family about including raisins inside things like pie and butter tarts.
Oh, and carrot cake.
Yeah. Oh,
That's a big one for me.
yeah.
If a carrot cake has raisins, I'm fucking out.
I hate it. Like, it is something
Same,
where I'm
same.
like absolutely feel it's atrocious, but my whole other side of the family, like all of my in-laws love it,
Well,
and
they're
I am
British.
the odd man out.
The Brits.
It's weird.
They don't like fruit unless it's like dried and shrunken. They don't.
Just like their spirits and their...
That's right.
Yeah.
Luckily, there'll be none of that at this party we're going to see.
Yes.
It is in full swing in our next scene, and Tromeo is positively gleeful when he spots Rosie in a dominatrix outfit. That gleefulness is short-lived, though, as after someone moves the chair that she was standing behind, he sees some dude mowing her box in front of various partygoers. It's that guy with the man bun from earlier, and after standing up and wiping his lips, Rosie introduces him as Bluto Fitzgibbon, who, we find out when he shakes Romeo's hand, is running a reverse shocker 24/7. He's missing his middle finger, so it's one in the p, two in the stick for Rosie, and Tromeo would be absolutely devastated if not for the blonde beauty he spots across the room, who, of course, is Juliet. It hits him like a thunderbolt, love at first sight, and we get a hilarious reaction shot here of him wearing the cow costume that I fucking loved. He is wearing a mask, right? So it's like seeing a sport mascot reacting, which is pretty funny. And a great connection to our beer.
Which I just finished, by the way. Holy fuck, was that delicious. I would recommend wholeheartedly you get your hands on that cow.
I'm excited for you to try the white stout because I'm loving that action right now, and I'm excited to get into the other one.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's good.
This love at first sight is interesting. I can't believe he's not more heartbroken about seeing his love getting eaten up by a big burly like man, but
Rebound, man. He rebounded immediately.
like within seconds, he was lightning on the next lady, and I guess that's good for him. He's young. He shouldn't hang too long on lost love.
Don't dwell, guys. Don't dwell in the past. Look to the future.
The only thing he can do, and what I thought was interesting as Romeo and Juliet first connect, though, the cow comes over and he interrupts a dance between London, the meat merchant, and Juliet, and we get a bit of old English. We're actually getting lines from the play, and this happens throughout, which I think is kind of a nice touch.
Oh, man, it's really interesting. Yeah. And yes, as you mentioned, so smitten is young Tromeo that he cuts in on a dance with Juliet and her meat-loving fiance. And as they dance, the party disappears with only the night sky appearing in the background behind them. She asks to see his face, and he obliges. And before you know it, they are making out hard in the middle of the dance floor. This idyllic moment is shattered by one of the Capulet cousins, who spots their transgression and loudly announces,
Q, get your goddamn tongue out of my goddamn cousin's mouth!
so yeah, shit's on now, man.
This is the moment we knew we were waiting for, right? It was going to be love between two people who are destined to be apart. I thought that the fade out into the stars was fucking hilarious. Both perfect in terms of setting the mood and felt very Shakespearean, but also really, really funny that they made that choice. The fact that it got interrupted so quickly by a Capulet seeing this going down, and how does this resolve? How do we deal with them now being caught and found out? They're never going to talk to each other again, right?
Well, Tromeo and his crew exit, but unable to forget the indelible mark Juliet put on his heart and soul, he later climbs up her balcony and enters her bedroom to profess his love for her. Things suddenly take a turn, though, as her stomach simultaneously wrinkles and swells up. Like, imagine an 80-year-old pregnant lady. That's what I assume that would look like. It then splits open to reveal movie theater popcorn, rats, and maggots, so we can safely assume this is a dream. Or nightmare, I guess is more like it. But the real nightmare again begins when Juliet wakes up. Her dad is there once more, in her bedroom, lying beside her wearing only some European briefs, and once again chastising her for being overly horny. This is weird as shit and creepy as fuck, but it's about to get weirder as he takes her to a hyperbaric chamber with a big plexiglass cage. And here's my question for you, Noel. If this guy wasn't so hairy, would this be more or less creepy?
What?
He's very hairy. If he was less hairy, would it be as creepy?
I don't think the hair plays a part in the creepiness level of this thing.
I think body hair has a direct correlation to creepiness, but I'm not so sure that it's not an inverse
Are you
relation.
hair shaming currently?
No, I think he's got great coverage. What I'm saying is if he had no body hair, more creepy for me.
I guess. I don't know. This Act 3 has taken a weird turn, right?
Are we in Act 3 already?
We're Act 3. So
It's flying by.
After the party, we cut to Act 3, and that's when she's having this weird dream. That's when we get the pregnancy and the rats and the popcorn and shit. Waking up to her dad in a G-string,
not a G-string, European cut briefs.
Like kind of greased up and definitely drunk. I don't think hair matters. I think this is just about as fucked up as you can be as a father. The only line he hasn't crossed is he is not physically assaulting her, right?
Yeah, he hasn't diddled her yet. Well, sorry, that we know of.
Sorry, yes, I agree. But he locks her up. He puts her in a pink suit and like pink handcuffs.
Yeah, they're furry.
It's really fucked up. Like this is...
Oh, God, yes.
And then he passes out in front of the cage. Like this is how
well, he's exhausted. He's spent.
He's gotten drunk. He's beaten his wife. And now he is like chaining his daughter up in a glass thing because she was having too much fun with the maid. And then she was meeting boys at the costume ball.
I'm not saying this is normal behavior. I'm just saying it would be creepier if he had less body hair. That's all I'm saying.
I think you're shaming the well-groomed, and I don't know that I'm here for that.
It's not about grooming. If this dude was like all smooth, it would be creepier, in my opinion. But feel free to disagree at the BME podcast.
I disagree currently because I don't know that it has it. Like, are you thinking he's more snake-like, more animal-like if he has no body hair? So
remember that episode of Always Sunny where
reptilian.
Frank, like, it's during the pandemic, and Frank's obsessed with being clean, and he shaves all his hair off, and he's covered in sanitizer?
Yeah, that is creepy.
Exactly. There we go. So, turns out Tromeo really was unable to forget the indelible mark that Juliet put in his heart and soul. So he picks the lock to the front door of the Capulets brownstone. This is all happening in 90s New York, as we mentioned, and stealthily sneaks upstairs. Juliet's maid/former lover sees him and, rather than alerting the other Capulets, tells Tromeo exactly where he can find her. He steps over her father's body due to his yard sailed out in the hallway, as you mentioned, before entering the room, and we get another modern riff on a classic Shakespearean line.
What light from yonder plexiglass breaks? It is a right-angled cosmos, and Juliet is its sun.
So coincidentally, I think I mentioned this when we did Searching Mookie Man, which was the last Troma movie that we discussed, but I was an English major in college, and I can't even tell you how much joy I'm getting out of this right now. Like, I keep thinking I can't get more all in on this movie, and it just keeps happening. And I'll tell you what, them fucking in that plexiglass box while the maid watches is not going to change my opinion.
I mean, I love that the maid, despite her love for Juliet, like, she's clearly in love
with
Juliet.
That's why. She loves her.
She loves Juliet. She helped Tromeo get in there because she knows that's what Juliet needs. And that, to me, was part of, like, the true love of this story.
The real true love is between the maid and Juliet, is what you're saying.
The most love we saw there, she is letting her go, right? She's the bird. She's letting free. I don't know that she's ever coming back, or we know that she isn't, based because we finished this movie, but she needs someone to get Juliet away from Father Capulet because he's clearly a problem.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah, in so many ways. How do we feel about this being our Valentine's Day episode? This is pretty appropriate, isn't it?
I feel good about it. Yeah, you know what? This is not a traditional romance, but we're not a traditional podcast, so... It's only our second ever Valentine's Day episode, and our first one was The Bitch with Dame Joan Collins. So I think we're right on brand, buddy. No, the two young lovers are spooning after their romp in this plexiglass cage, but the sound of the Regis and Kathy Lee theme means that Juliet's father is about to be up and around, so Tromeo's got to get the fuck out. He doesn't want to leave Juliet, but she reminds him that she's supposed to marry that meat market guy, London. Fuck that, Tromeo says. Marry me first. She agrees, but that's going to put her in an awkward position when London comes around the next morning. He's excited for the wedding and their honeymoon. In fact, he's booked tickets to Swansea, Wales, a place that I have been to.
You've been to Swansea?
I've been to Swansea to see the world's biggest cattle herd. That's not why I was there, but does this guy love beef or what?
He loves the beef. Not, maybe not the beef, but he...
Oh, good God.
I know, I keep going back there. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
It's hard. We skipped over the sex scene a little bit. Juliet got over her fear of dongs rather quickly with Romeo, and just like one of the first erotic films we watched together, we also got a throwback to nipple and mouth, my friend.
All right.
We got a body of evidence throwback, and I can't let this go. I had to bring it up.
No, I famously claimed that you rarely see like mouth on nipple And we've seen it so many times since then. I was very clearly wrong about that. And we saw it again here, and right away I was just like, no eye contact. And you're like, oh, is that mouth and nipple? I'm like, yes.
Are we over a dozen times in the
It's
podcast?
a lot of times.
It's
I don't know,
probably
man.
here. So let's move past that to the next day. He does offer to marry her before, and now they're going to have to figure that out. They're going to have to get her away from London before she has to go see the cows and whales, and they're going to have to get married themselves. And we're not sure what's going to happen for our star-crossed lovers here.
No, but Juliet's fiance, luckily, is seemingly out of the picture after pulling an Edward Norton in Fight Club on himself. And Tromeo is positively bursting with excitement on the streets, telling a priest handing out bread that he's got a new lease on life. Juliet's pretty smitten too, as she can't stop thinking about Tromeo's handsome face and hot bod. In fact, she's so revved up that she calls a phone sex line because the picture in the ad looks vaguely like him. Turns out the voice on the other end of the line is that bearded edgelord from earlier, but that doesn't stop her from ripping out a big one. Meanwhile, the actual Tromeo is trying to call her, but getting a busy signal, which fully keeps the 90s vibes going. He finally gets through while taking a shit, which leads to another great Troma moment when he lets one rip and she asks him, what was that sound? Before we smash cut to their wedding at the church and a good times montage.
What I thought was hilarious, well, a few things here. One, she really rubs one out solid, like you said.
Oh, yeah.
She's enjoying the sex line, but he's shitting naked.
Maybe he just had a shower. Or he's about to have a shower, which is the better way to do it. That's the right way to do it.
I was going to say, like, he is completely buck naked on the shitter here. Have we met this priest before? They've come to him for advice, but he
I don't
seems
think
like,
so.
no, is
I
this
think
the first time we've met him?
Yeah,
and he's going to play a bit of a role the rest of this film.
He sure is, and I'm sure that you enjoyed that role based on the things he says as we go through here. Now, I mentioned good times a minute ago. It is anything but that for Juliet's former fiance, as he's still self-flagellating, this time by smashing his face into one of the dead hogs in the meat market. He eventually goes all the way with this, seemingly doing himself in with a meat hook after telling Juliet's cousins that she dumped him because she's in love with someone else. And since it was the cousins who stopped their forbidden dance at the costume party, they know right away who the other guy is. Tromeo! Ooh, shit is really on now, Noel.
You're right. Shit is about to hit the fan, right? We're transitioned to Act 4. We know that the marriage that the Capulets wanted has already been sort of destroyed.
Well, no, it's still technically on, but it's in trouble.
Things are in trouble, right? London's self-harming, and Juliet's moving around town making out with Tromeo in sex cinemas and shit, right?
That's also going to happen.
That's happening, right? But now we're going to get a bit of a battle in a tattoo parlor. The Capulets and Montagues, not Tromeo and Juliet, but the side characters, just as it happens in the play, are about to go off on each other.
Yeah, man, those cousins show up at the Q tattoo and piercing parlor looking for answers on where they can find Tromeo, and he isn't there, at least not yet. But his boy Murray Martini throws some gasoline in the fire, first by calling the main Capulet cousin Tyrone every name in the book, and then by literally pissing on him while Tromeo tries to convince the Capulets that he loves their cousin and isn't using her for revenge. This leads to a short brawl and some great low-budget practical effects. First, when Murray accidentally jams a needle into his own guy's eye, and then when Tyrone caves his head in with an Adolf Hitler mace. Seriously, the mace is shaped like Hitler's head, and that'll be it for old Murray Martini, who falls dead after asking for a kiss from Tromeo, who I guess he was secretly in love with the whole time. I was going to say things really got out of hand in this scene, but that is nothing compared to what we get next.
Yeah, you would expect this to be the epitome of like derangement in a film. Practical effects not very good here.
Well, not good in the traditional sense. Enjoyable as fuck.
Enjoyable as fuck. The mace itself is clearly rubber and terrible.
Oh, yes.
The blood and gore and other parts of it are actually quite good. If they had have somehow made that mace look real, it would have been...
That's fair, but I don't think many credible mace craftsmen are making Hitler
maces. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I know. We're pushing all boundaries with Troma films.
Classic
Troma. So we've lost a Q here. One of the Montagues has been killed by the Capulets in this scene, and that's not going to go without vengeance. We're about to get to a very ridiculous revenge portion of this film.
Fuck, man. Maybe the most ridiculous scene in this movie is Tromeo chases Tyrone out into the street, and the two start grappling, with Tyrone eventually getting the upper hand and pinning Tromeo against a telephone pole.
Get ready to die, motherfucker!
Now his advantage will be short-lived, though, as Tromeo, confronted with the possibility of joining Murray in the afterlife, tells him,
Happens to everyone sooner or later.
as a car with a ladder hanging out the window drives by, catching Tyrone and separating his body from his arm. But it doesn't end there, as he eventually runs into the back of a tow truck, which chops off Tyrone's head and launches it flying through the air. We cut to a family cheerfully singing the Found a Peanut song in their car before the head lands in the windshield and they freak out. The car crashes, there's a giant explosion, and I am just laughing my ass off the whole time. Just a fantastic sequence. 11 out of 10. It's great shit, man. Come on.
Oh my God. And I love how fucking deliberate they are in dropping the lines.
Yeah.
There's literally a line that is like, you work so hard to get ahead, and then his head gets chopped off when the car crashes in. When it lands on that family singing the fucking Peanut song and they lose their shit. Oh my God. The funny part though was that the parents were outraged and the kids thought it was fucking hilarious.
They're laughing their fucking
even
asses.
seen
They're
later,
laughing like me watching this.
They're running around with the head later like it's a fucking soccer ball, and they think it's amazing. All of this, though, leads to Dad Capulet being pretty pissed off to find out about what's going down.
Well, he's not the only one, too. Nobody is happy at this point. The cops are furious and want answers. Yes, as you mentioned, Capulet beats the shit out of any cue he can get his hands on and his daughter until she finally agrees to marry the meat guy afterwards, who is somehow still alive. That was a surprise to me. And Tromeo, meanwhile, is rightly worried that he has fucked everything up. But his priest friend thinks he may have a way out for the star-crossed lovers, and he's happy to help because, as he puts it,
I too know what it's like to care for somebody.
And what we cut to here, you must have absolutely loved.
I mean, they're playing on the stereotype of priests, particularly Catholic priests, and their love for young boys.
That you have personally endorsed several times on this podcast.
I have not endorsed priests' love of young boys.
No.
What I have endorsed,
you've endorsed the stereotype.
No. What I have endorsed is an indictment of organized religion that allows those kind of abuses to happen. Not in that I don't believe tenets of religion cannot be beneficial for society or others, but in that many people, not all, many people have abused their power within Catholicism and organized religion to abuse others. And I have a very large problem with that.
I would like to remind everyone here that the views of my co-host Noel do not necessarily reflect the views of this podcast, myself, or producer John. It just feels like I should say that at this point. Whenever you talk about religion, I get a little tense.
So this guy who is a pedophile is going to marry them himself.
He
is a pedophile. Well, his dream is about fucking a young red-haired boy.
He's not fucking the red-haired boy in the dream. Let's be clear about that.
He loves him.
And they're like holding hands, skipping
around.
Or something.
That's not going to go anywhere.
Well, it's not. It's not good. I'm not sitting here telling you it's good.
You are telling me it's good. You're being a justification for pedophilia right now.
Stop it. That is not what I'm saying at all. But the priest sends Juliet to a mysterious man named Fu Chang, who, in a Troma-riffic twist, is not Asian, but rather a black guy. Get over it, he says. And he gives Juliet something she can take that will teach a lesson to anyone who only appreciates her surface beauty and not the person underneath. So we're not going the poison route, but rather something that's going to basically turn her into the Toxic Avenger. And I know London the Meat Freak loves viscera, but even he might have a hard time with this one. This all comes after Juliet gets visited by our 3 dead characters, who end up giving us a completely bizarre song and dance number. What the fuck is going on here? And can I have more of it, please?
This is classic Troma.
It's so fucking weird and so enjoyable.
Yeah, we are pushing the boundaries of what could be believable. You know what the fun part about this? Within the source material...
Everything?
Well, it's all fun, but within Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, you can believe there is room for visiting a sorcerer and getting a potion that fucks everything up into a weird dream sequence, right? Like this is standard for the day, and they are doing a good job incorporating that and making it fucked up. When the Rasta guy gives her this like potion that's going to turn her into basically a hog herself, right? Like she turns into a pig-like human. Do you think London's going to want to move forward with this relationship if she is pig-like? He does love meat.
Well, that's what I said, but when he arrives ready for the big day, with jerky in his pocket and love in his heart, he slides open the doors to Juliet's bedroom to discover a thoroughly grotesque pig dog creature, as we were just describing. Is that why they say the bride and groom shouldn't see each other before the wedding? What do you think?
I don't know, but like... Don't pigs orgasm for hours? This feels like an opportunity.
I don't know
this feels like an opportunity. Yeah.
I don't know anything about that. No, we're just going to keep it here. London's reaction here indicates this plan is working as he asks her.
What happened?
It's just acting. acne.
Acne, Juliet. That is not acne.
But even if London could see past her new look, I doubt he'll be able to get over the big swinging donkey dick she reveals under her dress. And sure enough, one look causes him to throw himself out the window after vomiting. So -1 enjoyment for homophobia for you, or?
There's just too much in this for me to take away from that moment.
There you go.
I did think it was weird that she grew a dick. Like, I thought that was strange, but...
I mean, if the goal is to make her less appealing to a straight guy.
A straight meat-loving guy. There's more meat in that hog that she threw out than I've seen in anywhere in this movie.
She's got more hog meat than the whole meat market.
She just brought all the hog meat to the market. I thought he would have been in love, right? Like, he could have turned that into salami. Yeah.
They do a Crying Game reference.
Yeah, they absolutely
They literally
do.
name-checked the Crying Game.
Well, she calls it his favorite movie.
Apparently not. He's out that window, man. No, Juliet's dad is pissed at this turn of events, threatening to kill and his daughter at the same time. So it's pretty rewarding when Tromeo arrives with his priest friend, who's gracious enough to dispatch the Capulet goons while Tromeo races up the stairs and nails Capulet right in the face. He triumphantly kisses Juliet, who transforms back into the erstwhile 90s beauty Tromeo fell in love with. So it looks like we're getting a happy ending here. You know, unless her father comes to and decides to grab his bow. And just to be clear, I mean his crossbow, not his oboe.
Yeah, he does have both, which they make allusions to. How did you feel about the sparkles?
I like them.
Yeah.
I'm not against the sparkles.
It's a pretty simple way to show the transformation and hide some of the limitations of practical effects while doing it cheaply. I thought it was kind of fun.
Sure, man. And fun's the name of the game when it comes to Troma movies, if you can't tell from everything we've already talked about. But I mentioned her dad grabbing that crossbow, and that is exactly what happens. As Capulet bursts into the room yelling,
Here comes William Tell.
and we get an absolutely batshit fight scene where Tromeo and Juliet take turns teeing off on the Capulet patriarch with curling irons, hair dryers, tampons, and big chunky computer monitors. The low-budget practical effects are coming fast and furious here, and for a moment it appears the two lovers have triumphed over Capulet before he picks himself off the ground, grabs his crossbow once more, and forces them into the room with the plexiglass cage. He is disgusted with their torrid love affair, to the point where he's quoting other famous literary works.
Look upon my work, ye mighty, and despair.
But it's him who's going to be despairing in a second, when Juliet finds the plug to the monitor in his head and plugs it in, thus electrocuting Capulet until his eyes pop out of his head. Literally. And again I say, this is great shit.
You could not describe this scene to someone, this section of them battling him, stabbing him, burning him, fighting him, smashing a tube monitor on his head, and then plugging him in to melt his brains and head out without them disbelieving everything
you've got to see this. You need to see this.
Absolutely, you must see this.
We're describing it, and we are not doing it justice.
The explosion of his eyes out of him, and then the shot they have of him laying in that glass case with some viscera on the side.
Oh yeah, man,
is fucking great.
I agree 100%. And now the two lovers are safe, having dodged any charges from the police for the many dead bodies by claiming self-defense. They're free to go, in fact, and that's what they do. Go have a bunch of kids, which might be a problem, as it turns out the two of them are actually related. See, I guess Capulet is Tromeo's real father from the affair his mother had while married to Monty Q. We find all this out while, Old West saloon music plays, and that theoretically should put a stop to this whole Tromeo and Juliet thing, but instead they say fuck it and decide to keep overcoming adversity, which in this case will mean parenting a whole flock of mutant incest children. And maybe one normal one? It's hard to tell, but what a ride.
So their families, both Monty Q, right? Tromeo's adopted dad, not real dad, we find out
as it turns out. Yeah.
He tells him you're white and I'm black. How did you not figure this out? You fuck. Right? That's clear to him. We find out we knew all along that the mom was the same for both of them. We didn't know that old Cap was both of their dads, but that's made clear here. What I thought was fairly shocking and very Troma-esque was that they didn't give a fuck at this point. They decided, you know what? We've gotten this far. We love each other. We don't care that we are full siblings. We get 2 girls that they have. Both of them have deformed heads.
Yeah, they have like second faces growing out of their face.
And then we get a baby, and then the baby has...
He looks okay.
Yeah, nothing that we can see there. So maybe we've got one regular kid. But you know what I love about this?
1 out of 3 ain't bad.
Well,
No.
Monty Q is there, and so is Mama Capulet. All of them there, and they love each other regardless of what's happened here. Love conquers all.
That again, we keep going back to that, and it is nice to see them supporting all of this. You know who else is apparently supporting all of this? William Shakespeare himself, as the last thing we see before the credits, is an actor who is clearly supposed to be Shakespeare, chuckling to himself as though endorsing this batshit crazy movie.
Let all things go in the future is the message that we get there at the end.
God
Let
damn.
all things go. Love is love. Even if you share biology,
Well, nope, we're not endorsing that. We are not endorsing that.
But that's what this movie endorses.
Seemingly, yes.
What do you mean seemingly? There is no seemingly. They are all about having sex with siblings, and that's uncomfortable. I'm not okay with it, but that's where we're at. And you know what? Troma pushes the boundaries all the time, and they've done it again. They've done it again.
It's what we've come to expect.
Yeah.
And yet, so far beyond what I expected here.
Absolutely.
But again, I say, what a ride. Just start to finish the whole time. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what was going on. This is so fucking weird and so fucking interesting that it deserves to be seen. And I'm so glad we got to watch it.
There is a certain section of filmmaking that is not made for the average viewer.
Oh, that's this. Yeah.
But it's made for people who want to push boundaries and find fun in the ridiculous. And it's almost hard to judge on our scale.
It's funny you say that because I mentioned earlier, and it's true, I still am having a hard time. I haven't totally landed on my ratings for this. This movie for me would be like a friendship barometer. Like I would show this to someone, and if they were disgusted, I'd be like, "Oh, we're not going to be able to hang out."
I think this was your Toxic Avenger statement too. I think
maybe,
we talked about this when we were talking Toxic Avenger.
If a person would watch this and be like, "What is this?" I'd be like, "Oh, you got to go."
If your friend walked out of the movies on this,
they'd be walking out of my life.
Yeah.
They'd be walking out of my life.
If you cannot handle, well, it's a bit of an intelligence check too, though, right? Because if you can't tell that they are pushing boundaries on purpose, if you're offended by what you see here, then you just don't understand what the purpose of this is.
You're saying they're dumb.
Yes. If you don't like Tromeo and Juliet, you're a fucking
is wrong
idiot.
with you?
Yeah, you just shouldn't even watch movies.
That is funny. I don't necessarily agree with that, but here we are. No, I think this would be a great time to find out exactly how much we did like this movie. And to do that, we're going to be going to our ratings. The way we always do this, rate the movie on a scale of 1 to 10 2 times. 1 to 10 for how bad it is, 1 to 10 for how enjoyable. And the goal is to find movies that are 10 out of 10 on both scales, what we call the Crit 20. And I think I need you to go first for this one.
Woo!
Because I am having a really hard time deciding how bad I think this movie is. So I let me hear your thoughts, and I'll piece
and then
it
you're
together.
Gonna put it together.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. This one is difficult to rate on its bad scale. I do think there is some really bad acting. I think there's some questionable special effects.
That's putting it mildly.
We know the budget is also all of these movies are done under a Kaufman-esque budget, right?
Yep.
They're trying to make it work. The pace is almost too frenetic at times, but that can also lead to the enjoyability. I think there was too much craft in the way they integrated this story into the Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet for me to go full 10 out of 10 bad, which is one of those weird questionable things, right? There's lots of times in this podcast where I've given something a 9, which I'm giving this now. It is a 9 bad for me.
Right.
Where I give them too much credit for being intentional in what they have done, rather than give them a full 10 out of 10 bad. I think this is a 9 bad. I think there's too much craft and plan in this. This is written partially or with James Gunn.
Mostly. And that's what I was going to say. So you mentioned intentionality. This apparently, the original script existed over a decade before this was made. And Lloyd Kaufman, I guess, thought he couldn't make this properly. And it wasn't until James Gunn, famously of Guardians of the Galaxy, now in charge of the DC universe.
Yeah.
He found a way to craft this into a script that was workable. So there clearly is intentionality. And that's what I'm struggling with too.
This is why I think it's a 9 for me. There is enough poor things in here in terms of our overall general thoughts of movies and whether it was bad. this would be considered a B movie by most, right?
If that.
Yeah, like if
Yeah.
that, but the ideas around it are too good for me to give it a 10 bad. So I'm giving it a 9 bad.
Okay, I think you have helped me make my decision here because this is what I struggle with as well. Is like, I was thinking it was a 10 based on everything we've seen and the way this goes, but I couldn't get over the thought that this is such a good idea.
Yeah.
Like to have a Troma movie that is a take on Romeo and Juliet and you call it Tromeo and Juliet is so fucking perfect. Like, so I thought to myself, like, okay, but that's the idea. Is the movie itself still 10 bad? And I think the answer is no for what you're saying.
It's executed
which is that
in what it wants
the
to be.
script.
Yeah.
The script integrates all the elements of the Romeo and Juliet story and just riffs on them in that kind of Troma way where it goes so far beyond the boundaries of bad taste. And it's like silly and crazy, but it's tethered to this Romeo and Juliet narrative. And that kind of connective tissue is so well done that while you're watching all this insane shit happen, you're like, this really is just a different version of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a 9 bad also, but I really grappled with that.
It's a battle. Honestly, it was on my radar. This is so close to holding the essence of what Romeo and Juliet is. The ending's different in that they
get away with it.
They get
have
away
their
with it, and they
mutant
have their
children.
incestual children. So
Yeah.
that is a departure that we didn't have in the original. But it really does feel like it takes the essence of the Shakespeare story.
They do a great job of
Yeah.
combining their sensibilities with that story.
So do you want me to go enjoyability first, or
Please
you want to
do.
go?
No, you go
So we're gonna
ahead.
Go back to back.
Yeah. How enjoyable on a scale of 1 to 10 did you find this movie?
So this is a Troma film.
Yep.
It was absurd.
Always.
Like, just takes things to a obscene level. It's frenetic. We get like gore and graphicness and violence and sex at us constantly, while still kind of holding on to the nature of the Shakespeare film. I laughed a lot. There's moments that probably made me want to cry because they were so fucked up.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
in their like messed upness, but also awesomeness.
I cried from laughing a couple of times.
Yeah. Well, there's that too. They just don't give a shit.
No, fuck no.
What
Why
I'm
would
learning
you?
is they love pushing the boundaries, yet I like that they've connected it. All of the performances not being good acting are committed. Like, everyone commits to their roles. They're doing their best on the gore and stuff they create. And then also it had that foundation of 90s grunge music. None that we actually know.
No, it's not real. They're not
There's
paying
no
for the
real
real rights
grunge
for that.
music,
No,
but they
no.
like do a good job pulling that out of there. This made for a really enjoyable film for me. So I'm going to go as close to a crit 20 as I can without giving it. This is a 10 enjoyable.
God, we're in the exact same space.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could not have been more in on this. From the fucking jump, I was just all in. And when I thought I could not get more all in, like I said, I just kept getting more all in on this. The more it went along, the more I loved it. As an English major, I love the connection to the literary source material. It's so fucking clever how they did this. It's so smart, and it works so well. All the stuff, like the gory, low-budget Troma effects, are always amazing. We get some nudity. We get some action. We get some laughs, some shit that makes you cringe, but like in a good way. Acting performances that are so bad they're good.
Yeah.
100% for me, 10 out of 10 enjoyable. And if you have any knowledge of Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare, or like if you have a literary background, just to see what they've done with it. It's so interesting because they keep it tethered to that material in a way that is so clever and so smart.
But
and
also like appropriately modern and New York for the time period in which this was
it's
made,
a 90s
right?
time capsule.
Yeah.
Just the way people are dressed, the way they're talking, and some of it, you're just like, fuck, I remember this. Like, we remember this.
Downloadable porn, the way
CD-ROMs with that choppy, interactive, and at the time you were like, this technology is unbelievable, and now it seems laughable.
The music, the tattoos, the piercings of the time, the way they interacted together. Maybe not the like kids singing about the peanut and the head, but
that happens.
Yeah.
Maybe not the head part, but the singing happens. No, man, this was a fucking great. I'm so glad we got to watch this. And what an appropriate way to celebrate Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day, Cooper. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone's listening. Love conquers all, and that's what's important.
We keep going back to that, and that's what it is. So, speaking of love and things we may or may not have loved, how'd you feel about these beers?
I loved the milk stout. I loved it. I thought it was
Not the white stout.
the milk,
classic cow.
the classic milk stout. I crushed it. I was done it very early, really smooth, had a really nice, nutty, strong, dark flavor. I don't think I like white stouts.
Okay, so what I'm going to say to you now is if you did not like this white stout, then you don't like white stouts.
I don't think I do.
Because I think this is the best beer I've had on this season so far.
Wow.
This is the front runner for me for the best. I mean, we're still early. We got more episodes
Yeah.
to come, but I fucking loved the white stout. Just everything I look for in a stout in general, a white stout especially. I don't get how they fit the coffee and cocoa flavor in while keeping it a white stout, but they did it, and I loved it. So if you don't like that, first of all, fuck you. No. And second of all,
that's aggressive.
I don't think
Love
you like white
conquers
stouts.
all.
I don't think you like white stouts.
I don't think I do because I did not really enjoy the white stout. There's something about the sweetness and flavors up front, finished by a late, like very bitterness that sounds weird because that's kind of how a hoppy beer finishes, right? You start with the brighter flavors and finish. I don't like it in a stout. I want my bitterness up front and then finishing into smooth. And for me, like this feels like it was executed well. I tasted the chocolate and I tasted the coffee flavors in it. But what I'm learning is that white stouts are not for me. I love the milk stout though. I would happily go to the cow again. Just like Juliet's going back to that classic cow. I would happily go back and have many more of those.
You'd suck on those udders again.
Yeah. I mean, we all know that nipple and mouth is something we see frequently on set, and I'm not afraid to go there.
It.
Not afraid to go there.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, man, I hope that you are not afraid to go back to the blaxploitation genre because it is, of course, Black History Month, and as we normally do, we're going to cover a film from that genre in 2 weeks' time when we watch one of the kind of original movies of this movement, Hammer.
Okay.
With Fred Williamson.
Is he a carpenter?
He is not. He's a boxer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So his fists are strong, though.
That's right.
They
like
can punch
strong
nails,
like
yeah.
hammers.
Okay, cool. All
right,
right.
man. So we're gonna get some of the traditional kind of 70s flavor. I'm sure we'll have some interesting characters
Funky
and costumes.
theme songs,
designs. Yeah.
hopefully, and music, and
maybe we get a hooker fight. Who knows? But that'll be our Black History Month offering for you all.
I'm
a
excited
genre
for
that you and I have grown to appreciate quite a bit.
I mean, you introduced me to this genre, and I've really, really enjoyed learning about it. I've had a lot of fun with all the movies we've watched, so I'm looking forward to Hammer.
Yeah, man. Hopefully it's good. That'll be in 2 weeks' time. Before then, if you haven't already, please follow us on social media at the BMB Podcast on Twitter and Instagram.
Send us emails, thebmbpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, we always love to hear from you, and we've got some more requests coming up soon. We'd love to add yours to that list, so let us know if you like. And thank you for joining us today for Tromeo and Juliet. Happy Valentine's Day again. We hope to see you back here in 2 weeks' time for Hammer. Until then, I'm Cooper.
And I'm Nolan.
And we'll see you next time on Bad Movies and Beer.
Keep loving your heart, unless it's with a sibling.
Body piercing, kinky sex, dismemberment. The things that made Shakespeare great.